Hey guys, it's the Loud Guys. Today we are going to watch Desert Storm the Airway Day 1. And this video, I don't know it's about, but yeah, I searched about Desert Storm. So it is about the Gulf War that America went into, and that is one of the most, like a war that has been like stretched into the history of America, and many people know and think about it. So like some people recommended us to watch these videos because we have been watching all the plane and fighter jet videos and also the videos about the wars and American wars. So like some person recommended us that we should watch this video too, so I thought why not. And it's about like the I think so, and like it is about going into the war. It will show us about what happened day to day and what happened like moment to moment what happened. So that is very important to understand like what we go through. Always we know the result of the war, that okay, America won the war, or like this country won the war and this happened, and like okay, and the only the upper bits of it. But now when we go into it, we get to know a lot about the war. So let's see what it is.
And seriously, as I'm watching these videos more and more, my respects for the American soldiers is increasing day by day. And previously, we have seen in the lot of videos where the American soldier didn't kill their enemies; they just sent them into the jail. So that was the very impressive moment for me, that they are not killing the people for their sins. They are just they are just putting them into the jail. So that was the thing which I really liked. And we got to know that basically they are not American soldiers are not only physical fit, but they are also mentally very strong. They take their decision very peacefully, very nicely, without taking any tensions about the problems. So that's the thing which I really like about the American soldiers. And I do think that every soldier should be just like the American soldiers. They should be very calm, they should be disciplined. And we also got to know, firstly, I used to think that they are very strict, and it's not like that. They are just strict for their on the work, but personally they are not very strict or rude. They are very nice. So yeah, I'm so much excited to watch this video and so much excited to know about this war. So yeah, let's watch this video.
So let's see what happened in this war and like what happened like moment to moment. So let's watch this video.
Seven B-52s take off from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. In 35 hours' time, when they return, a war will have started, and they will have set a new record for the longest bombing raid in history.
Longest bombing raid.
A year prior, in 1990, high levels of oil production in the state of Kuwait and other Arab nations are depressing global oil prices. Because of its economic dependency on oil revenue, neighbouring Iraq is struggling to pay $14 billion debts on loans used to finance its war with Iran in the 1980s.
Oh.
It has come to the point where Iraq is now even struggling to pay for basic government spending. Dating from the fall of the Ottoman Empire after World War I, Iraq has maintained sovereign claims over Kuwait. An accusation that Kuwait is slant drilling Iraqi oil fields gives Iraqi President Saddam Hussein an excuse to invade and annex the small nation on the 2nd of August 1990. Following international condemnation and sanctions, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and US President George H.W. Bush begin to deploy forces to Saudi Arabia, urging other countries to do the same. A UN resolution passes, giving Iraq a deadline of the 15th of January 1991 to completely withdraw from Kuwait. The build-up of coalition forces in Saudi Arabia is called Operation Desert Shield. Over a period of 6 months, 35 nations send a total of approximately 1 million military personnel to Saudi Arabia,
Oh wow.
the largest military alliance since World War II. 2,230 coalition aircraft are sent to bases in Saudi Arabia, and 6 carrier battle groups are deployed in the region. The coalition war plan is first to wage an air war to achieve dominance of the skies above Iraq, and to strike targets to degrade the Iraqi military for when the ground invasion is launched some weeks later. The first day of the air assault will be the most risky. Iraq has a very dangerous arsenal of air defense systems. 154 SAM sites with 16,000 missiles defend Iraq,
Wow.
alongside a further 972 anti-aircraft artillery guns, 2,404 fixed AA guns, and 6,100 mobile AA guns.
Wow.
Baghdad is likely
They were
the most
fully
heavily
ready for
defended
it.
city in the world. 478 early warning radars watch the skies for coalition aircraft, with command and control centres ready to scramble the Iraqi Air Force's 550 combat aircraft to respond. The priority for day one of the air campaign will be to degrade the enemy's air defence systems. The deadline passes, and a day later the great air assault on Iraq is put into motion. H hour, the start of the air war, is scheduled for 2:38 am on the 17th of January. 2 hours before H hour, the B-52s are nearing the end of their long journey from Louisiana, and an enormous armada of aircraft is taking off all over Saudi Arabia and from carriers in the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf. 2 flights of helicopters, each with a single Pave-Low special operations helicopter and 4 Apache attack helicopters, cross the border at low level. Their call sign is Task Force Normandy. Their job is to sneak up on and shoot up 2 key enemy radar positions. This will cut a vital gap in the radar coverage through which the coalition strike aircraft can stream into Iraq to hit their targets.
But this is so
E2
scary.
and E3 airborne warning and control aircraft, referred to as AWACS, are orbiting near the border, directing operations and keeping an eye on Iraqi airspace. Air-to-air refueling tankers are now refueling the aircraft of the enormous First Striking Force over Saudi Arabia. For the last few months, large formations of coalition aircraft have massed every night near the border, so as not to cause a specific alarm in the enemy command structure when the air war does start. What Iraqi radars can't see tonight is the further formations of aircraft massing further away from the border at low level. F-117 stealth aircraft have also crossed the border unescorted and head for Baghdad.
Oh wow.
It's unclear whether their stealth technology will be potent enough to cloak them from the massive fire control radars around the heavily defended city. They are to hit key communications infrastructure in the city, hindering central military commanders' ability to coordinate their air defence sites around the country. One of the main targets is the international...
You know, this is very smart and brave for them at the same time. Like, smart as in, like, when they knew that, okay, they are going to attack, so they were continuously circling around the border itself, so that if they do attack them, so it does not seem like, okay, they are doing something out of hand. And also, the stealth bomber thing was, they knew that, okay, we don't know that our stealth bombers might get detected by their radar, so it was a very risky move for them. And like, those stealth bombers are very, very costly for America, so if 1 or 2 would have gone out, so it would have hurt them a lot. So this was very brave and very smart from America.
And seriously, it required a lot of intense planning too. And seriously, I also like this video. They are so based on the logical planning, basically.
communication centre in central Baghdad, through which 50% of all military comms traffic is routed. These vital strikes are needed to protect the main assault aircraft when they attack in the coming hours. In the end, the stealth bombers circle Baghdad undetected, waiting for H hour.
Oh wow.
A few minutes before H hour, the US Air Force fires the first shots of the war, launching 35 AGM-86 cruise missiles from the Barksdale B-52s at communication sites and power plants. Simultaneously, coalition naval battle groups begin launching Tomahawk cruise missiles at mainly communications targets in Baghdad. 2 of the ships launching Tomahawks, the USS Missouri and Wisconsin, are battleships that first saw service in World War II and will serve their country once more.
Iraq should have backed out of
The
it.
Tomahawks will navigate to their targets using an onboard system that identifies and follows known landmarks and terrain contours on the route to the target.
Oh, wow.
Because much of the direct route to Baghdad from the Persian Gulf is flat desert, the cruise missiles must follow a longer easterly route over more hilly, trackable terrain near the Iranian border. The missiles fly at subsonic speed, so while these are the first shots to be fired, the US Army would have the honour of the first shots to explode.
Ah.
The 2 groups of Apaches arrive near 2 radar sites 30 seconds early, and come to hover in lines of 4 abreast. As they wait for precisely 2:38 am, they watch the compound through their infrared cameras. At first, it appears that the Iraqis are oblivious to their presence, but with 10 seconds to go, the compound's lights go out, and figures are observed running around outside.
Oh.
At 2:38 am, H hour, Desert Storm begins. The Apaches unleash a furious rain of destruction on the radar installations. Hellfire missiles are first aimed at power generators. Further Hellfires and 70mm rockets are fired on radar dishes, command vehicles, and communications antennas as the attack helicopters move in closer.
Such a planned
They
attack.
expend everything they have on the site. Such is the importance to knock out the radar, the Apache crews then move in closer still and engage whatever is left standing with 30mm cannon.
Oh,
An enormous explosion ends the attack when an ammunitions dump is hit by cannon fire. During the 4 minutes of destruction, 27 Hellfires, 100 rockets, and 4,000 cannon rounds have been unleashed on the sites.
this
The
was
crews
hell.
report in total destruction of the 2 sites for no loss. They turn back to the border. The first aircraft of the first strike wave screams overhead. The air war is underway. 3 EF-111 radar jamming aircraft rush towards Baghdad to provide jamming support for the F-117s in case they are detected. With coalition aircraft streaming into Iraq, it's crucial that the stealth bombers knock out comms infrastructure. To maintain stealth, the F-117s are unable to use their radios to report on progress.
Oh,
Commanders at the Coalition Tactical Air Control Center, the TAC, won't know if the crucial task has been successfully completed until the aircraft are near the Saudi border on their return journey.
so hard.
The strike aircraft will be deep inside Iraq by then. But this is the first major war to take place during the new age of communications and international live television. Believing the imminent start of the new conflict after the UN deadline passing, live news channels have sent reporters into Baghdad. At the TAC, they spot that a reporter is live on CNN, reporting hearing aircraft over the city. The news streams almost definitely route through the International Communications Centre, a primary target for the F-117s.
Oh,
CNN is put up on the large screens in the TAC. At 0300, the precise moment the first bomb should be falling on target, CNN lose the live feed from their reporter on the ground. A cheer erupts at the TAC.
oh my
The
god.
first F-117 strikes stir the hornet's nest, and 2,000 anti-aircraft guns in Baghdad open fire into the night sky. Stealth can protect the aircraft from radar-guided missiles, but blindly fired anti-aircraft fire in such volume will be equally deadly if a lucky direct hit is scored. They drop 17 paveway guided bombs on 13 targets, radio towers, command bunkers, and a palace just outside the city, incorrectly believed to have been housing Saddam Hussein himself.
Oh, incorrectly believed.
Shortly after, the first of 116 Navy-launched Tomahawks begin to fall on Baghdad, hitting party headquarters, a Scud ballistic missile factory, another presidential palace, and other targets of importance.
Complete destruction.
A British journalist watches from his Baghdad hotel window as a Tomahawk screams past him at eye level down the street and hits the Ministry of Defence building at the end of it. Some Tomahawks carry special warheads which contain long strips of carbon filament. These missiles fly over power transformers and switching stations and release these strips into them, causing the electrical components to spark, short out, and burst into flames. 5 electrical facilities are hit.
You know, after seeing this, I just remember that, okay, at the start of the video, he said that UN gave warning to Iraq that you have some days to retreat and do something about it, and it just rejected everything. So if it would have accepted those things, I think that it should have understood that, okay, UN and US and every other country are coming together, so like they will not spare you, and they should have agreed to it, but they did not, and this is the whole result out of it.
The B-52 launched cruise missiles fall on further communication sites and power generation facilities, including the Al Musayib Thanal power plant. After a grueling flight across the Atlantic and Mediterranean to get here, the B-52s will now fly back to Louisiana without landing. The 14,000-mile mission takes 35 hours, requiring 57 tanker sorties, a demonstration of American global reach.
Actually,
With Iraqi command and control seriously degraded, the 668-strong first wave of strike aircraft with fighter escort begin hitting military targets across Iraq, SAM sites, Scud missile sites, command and control bunkers and airfields. RAF Tornado and US Navy F-14 interceptor aircraft patrol the Iraqi border and orbit Iraqi Air Force bases waiting for the enemy fighters to come out to fight. One formation, A strike package of F-15E Strike Eagles, escorted by F-15C fighters and an EF-111 radar jamming aircraft, hit Scud missile launch sites in the western desert, attempting to prevent Scud launches against nearby Israel. With the alarm now raised, the Iraqi Air Force is in the air defending their nation, setting up combat air patrols near key installations. With the strikes against the launches underway, an F-15 detects a single Iraqi Mirage fighter nearby and destroys it with a Sparrow missile. Another Mirage moves in close behind the low-flying EF-111 and fires a missile. The 111 makes a violent turn and evades.
They were made to look helpless.
At this point, an F-15 above spots the hostile aircraft and dives in to engage. Spotting the attacking Eagle, the Mirage itself makes a violent maneuver to evade the American fighter, but in doing so crashes into the ground. The unarmed EF-111 pilot is credited with a maneuvering kill. Another F-15C Eagle has just crossed the border into Iraq, and the pilot detects a distant, unidentified contact on his radar. Rules of engagement require the pilot to ask one of the E-3 command and control aircraft for permission to fire. The contact begins to maneuver aggressively, and the E-3 grants permission to fire. The long-range Sparrow missile flies into the distance, and the pilot sees the fireball as it detonates. The enemy aircraft downed is a modern and dangerous MiG-29 Fulcrum, piloted by a veteran of the Iran-Iraq War with 3 kills on his record. A flight of F-4G Wild Weasel aircraft are some of the many aircraft on their way to Baghdad to attack radar sites and SAM sites. Because of the volume of coalition assets in the area, the escorting F-15s are constantly investigating potentially hostile contacts that turn out to be friendly.
Destroying
After
radars
a few
was
false
so
alarms,
important.
Captain Steve Tate finally finds an enemy Mirage. He engages with a Sparrow missile, and the fireball confirms the kill. Multiple flights of aircraft are inbound to Baghdad to attack SAM and radar sites. Given the heavy air defences around the city, this could be a treacherous task. The US Navy aircraft make their first major play of the night. A-6 intruders to the west launch decoy glider drones towards the city, intended to trick the defending SAM sites into switching on their radars.
Oh, that's so
It
smart!
works, and many surface-to-air missiles are launched against them. The Iraqis believe they've scored multiple kills. What they don't see are the US Navy FA-18 Hornets armed with high-speed anti-radar missiles, HARMs, coming in behind.
Oh wow!
The HARMs
So from
lock
here
onto
and
the
then from
radar
here.
signals
Wow!
coming from the SAM sites on the ground as they engage the drones.
Seriously.
Yes,
A
even that
further
is very good.
37 BQM-74 jet-powered drones approach from the south and orbit the city. Some are shot down by MiGs, but the rest are tracked and engaged by the SAM sites on the ground. The F-4s and FA-18s move in and launch 75 HARMs, destroying approximately 35 installations.
Wow.
The idea of offering bait drone aircraft to the air defences for the Wild Weasels to engage is that of Brigadier General Larry Pooh-Bah Henry.
Wow.
The engagement during Desert Storm becomes known as Pooh-Bah's Party.
And this was in
Another
the
flight of
1980s.
4
Think about what
FA-18s
America
are
is
approaching
now.
the large airbase H-3 in western Iraq with an E-2 Hawkeye carrier-launched early warning aircraft above. A pair of MiG-29s move to engage the Hornets, but F-15s dive in and easily add 2 more kills to their impressive and growing tally. With 30 miles to go, the E-2 calls out 2 elderly MiG-21s aggressively attacking head-on. The Hornets are impressive multi-role aircraft. Lieutenant Commander Fox switches from ground attack to air-to-air mode with the flick of a switch. He locks onto one MiG, while his wingman locks onto the other. Fox fires a Sidewinder missile, and his wingman fires a Sparrow. Both hit. Both pilots calmly switch their aircraft back to ground
They're
attack
so
mode,
good at their
and almost
work.
without breaking step complete their bombing raid on the airfield. A powerful demonstration of the efficiency of multi-role aircraft
Yes.
in modern warfare. Further B-52s and F-111s drop conventional bombs on the elite Iraqi Army Corps, the Republican Guard, to soften them up and as a show of the military power that they're up against. It's claimed that fear of the B-52's conventional bombing capability caused mass Iraqi surrenders later on in the war. A B-52 is hit by a US missile in a friendly fire incident and crashes on the way home. The air assault is going nearly perfectly at this point, but the attack planners know that statistically their luck must change. And it does. A squadron of FA-18s from the USS Saratoga, known as the Sunliners, are on their way to take part in Pooh Bar's party, when the leader detects a MiG-25 interceptor in front of them. He requests permission from the AWACS to engage, but the AWACS radar can't find the bandit, and so permission is denied.
Oh.
There are hundreds of coalition aircraft in the air, so rules of engagement are tight to reduce friendly fire. The MiG slips away, but later shoots down another Hornet in the squadron, killing Lieutenant Commander Michael Speicher.
Oh no.
Dawn breaks in the desert,
More
and
people are
further
getting
waves
killed
move
in
in.
friendly fire.
The British Tornadoes have perhaps the most dangerous job of the first 24 hours. 12 aircraft scream over the desert at just 200 feet towards Talil Air Base. The RAF's two-seater Tornado GR-1 is a specialist in runway busting. In the first day of a hypothetical hot war with the Soviet Union, Tornadoes would maraud over the border into Eastern Europe to neutralise enemy airfields. Today they carry their specialist weapon, the JP-233, a system that drops a
JP-233.
combination of 30 runway cratering bomblets on the runway
30
and
bomblets.
215 anti-personnel mines to hinder the repair process after.
Oh wow.
Anti-aircraft fire is much heavier than expected, as they line up on the two parallel runways at 180 feet. Pushing through the barrage, each aircraft releases its two JP-233 dispensers. The runways are shredded, and the anti-personnel mines are scattered across both runways and across the airfield,
So they
waiting to punish
are
any
sure
repair
to be
workers
killed.
who attempt to make the runways operational again.
Yes.
All aircraft make it out, but the crew report that the flak was heavier than forecast, and that they were in fact very lucky to make it back undamaged.
Oh, wow.
A short time later, in the southeast of Iraq, another wing of 4 Tornadoes approach our Ramallah airbase at low level, each this time with 8 conventional 1,000-pound bombs. Just before the target, the aircraft will pull up into a climb and release their bombs, thereby throwing the bombs in an arc at the target.
So,
The downward
how will that
momentum
change?
when they hit allows the bombs to penetrate into the ground before exploding, maximising
Oh.
damage.
Wow.
Because the bombs are released at range, a target computer calculates the precise release moments during the climb. Flight Lieutenants John Peters, the pilot, and John Nichol, the navigator, begin their attack run. Ferocious flak opens up on them, and their aircraft is physically buffeted by the nearby explosions. They begin their climb. There's a problem. They have some kind of fault in their targeting computer,
Huh?
and it's not releasing their bombs.
Oh no.
They continue to climb as they try to quickly rectify the problem. They're now almost twice the height they should be, and very vulnerable.
Oh no.
Peters aborts and rolls the aircraft nearly upside down to bank and dive away. Descending and accelerating, they make for safety, but just after they level out, they're hit by a shoulder-launched SAM. Both men eject,
they got
as they're captured
detected.
by the Iraqis, suffering severe maltreatment.
So that's
The
how
airstrikes
difficult it
continue
is.
without rest throughout the day, against military and communications installations across the country. By day, A-10 Warthogs hit radar sites along the Iraqi border, similar to those that the Apaches had hit during the night. U-2 spy planes overfly Iraq to search for mobile Scud launchers. Special operations helicopters loiter near Baghdad to pick up downed aircrew. Further coalition aircraft join the strikes from bases in Turkey. 12 French Jaguars attack the Scud missile facility at the Ahmed Al-Jaber Air Base in Kuwait, and 4 take heavy damage from flak.
So very good teamwork
The
was going
coalition
on.
takes some further losses throughout the day, mostly from anti-aircraft fire on low-level missions. In the evening, 4 elderly A6 intruders are the
Seriously,
latest
I
to
have
approach
never
Airbase
seen such kind of
H3 with
coordination
laser-guided
before.
bombs.
Literally this
They split into 2
one
pairs
pulled up
and
my
attack from
mind.
different directions at low level. One aircraft is hit by a SAM. The crew eject and are later captured. Another aircraft is hit, but makes it to Saudi Arabia. Over the first 24 hours of the air war, 2,775 sorties are conducted against strategic Iraqi targets.
Oh.
The Iraqi Air Force flies just 120 sorties, losing 8 aircraft. Some of the Iraqi jets flee to their recent enemy, Iran.
Huh?
19 coalition aircraft are lost or damaged in day 1.
My god.
Saddam Hussein declares that the mother of all battles has begun. The air assault continues for 5 weeks, pounding the Iraqi military at a rate of 2,500 bombing sorties per day. Largely, the Iraqi Air Force, the 4th largest air force in the world, doesn't come out in full force to fight, and therefore the dangerous low-level attacks on airfields are reduced in favour of hitting mobile Scud launchers. 39 coalition aircraft are lost in combat during the air campaign, with another 36 lost in accidents. Gradually, attacks are shifted towards degrading the Iraqi military itself. The ground invasion of Iraq to liberate Kuwait will begin on the 24th of February.
What an amazing video it was. Seriously, I'm so impressed by the coordination and the planning. And I do think that it is the most logistical video I have ever seen. You know, mostly in such kinds of video I get bored and I did not grasp many things, but literally this video was so informative. I grasped a lot of things from it, and I got to know the beauty of the desert storm. And I do think that it is the one of the biggest operation done by the American army, and they did it very nicely, and the coordination was also very amazing. That it, sometime when I think that when this guy said that so many soldiers took off and they just landed in their houses, they just say goodbye to their wife and goodbye to their children after they just went to the war. So literally that thing, when they said that thing, I literally got the goosebumps, that we could not imagine their feeling. We even cannot think that how they how they love, how much they do love their country. We just say the things, but we cannot even imagine it. So yeah, so that's the thing. When I watch such kinds of video, for I always get more respects to the soldiers. And to be honest, as I'm watching the history of the America, I'm getting so much respect for the American soldiers, that how calmly they do their work, and how good they are in their work, and how smartly, with full of coordination, with full of planning, they just do it. So literally these kinds of things got me goosebumps, and such kinds of operations, I do think that we should learn about such kinds of operation, because they are so informative as well as good. They teach us a lot of things, and when they talked about, and the way they do planning is insane, that it is very difficult to be calm in such kinds of conditions. They were very calm, and seriously, I really like this video, and most importantly, I really like the animation of this video. It felt real, that the aircraft is moving in the sky. Seriously, I do like the animation so much, and it really felt so real. So yeah, I really like this video.
Yes, this video had mainly two words, like smart and brave. That was the main thing, because how smartly they were planning all the things, like how to enter Iraq and what to do. And like Iraq should have known, like, oh, the whole world is against them. So like even that the narrator was saying that it was the 4th largest army, but I think so, like, still you are going against the largest army or the best army, that is US, and also another NATO army. So there are Europeans also against you, then there Americans are also against you. So what are you fighting for? You are only just destroying your whole country, and that's what was happening. Like Americans went for the radars first, and then after the radars they went for their military operations. And there were this heartbreaking moment was like friendly fire. I always had this question, like, when you are flying so fast at supersonic speed, at sonic speeds, hypersonic speed, so like there is very hard to identify what plane it is and which type of, like, is it friendly or not. And like the main issue was they cannot use radio, and like today we can say that okay, they can use radio, but in 1980s they did not have that kind of a radio that they could just use it and properly understand it. And also the radar was speaking onto them, so like they could not just talk to the person. It was like they had to, if they see an enemy, if they feel like this is an enemy, they had to fire it. And when they fired it, then they got to know. So I can just not imagine for that person, it would be so hard, like okay, I killed my own friend, and like this is what I did, and so bad he would feel about it. So but yes, but it was part of the job, he had to do it some or the other way. And so everything that was happening was very well planned, and it just gives you how much planning that goes into a war, how much planning it goes to just land a plane, to throw a plane out into the war. So what do you guys feel about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
Subscribe.
bye.